first allow me to introduce my group members, Yashiv and Rahul. We are going to talk about nuclear processing and how it affects the environment. Nuclear energy is used to produce electricity in many countries around the world today. For example, in America, 30% of its electricity comes from nuclear source, that is uranium, and 13% of the world's electricity and 5.7% of the world's energy comes from nuclear energy today. I'm going to talk about food production now. Radioisotopes and radiation that are used to improve agriculture and plants in many countries. It also improves food production. Agriculture is also needed to sustain plants in many countries. United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization has used new nuclear technologies to improve the agriculture in many countries. Now I'm going to talk about fertilizers. Fertilizers are expensive and it can damage the environment. Efficient use of fertilizers is a main concern. And as it can damage the environment. It is important that maximum amount of fertilizers actually absorbed into the plants, and a minimal amount is lost to the environment. Next I'm going to talk about increasing genetic variation, that is producing new plants. Nuclear technology has actually helped to create new species of plants. These new species can actually help the plant to live longer and to be more fresher. For example, if you see a plant that is fruit that use nuclear technology, actually can last more longer than a fruit that does not use this technology. Okay. Next.
Dealing with nuclear energy is not a difficult job as it is. This process produces solid waste radioactive. Example, uranium and plutonium. This provides 5.7% of world's energy and 13% of electricity in 2012. There are two categories of radioactive waste. This high level and low level. The high level radioactive waste requires sophisticated treatment and management to successfully isolate it from the biosphere. This usually calls for treatment to make it safe for transporting, followed by a long-term management strategy involving permanent storage, disposal, and transformation of the waste into non-toxic form. The nuclear industries also provides a large volume of low-level radioactive waste contaminated like protein, hand tools, water purifier behind. However, nuclear processing has many negative effects to the environment. Radioactive waste that is produced can even cause death. My teammate Yash will come in.
There have been many nuclear power related accidents that have severe after effects. A notable one is the Chernobyl disaster in Ukraine. An explosion happened and this released radioactive particles into USSR, which is Russia now, and certain parts of Europe. The Chernobyl disaster is considered to be one of the maximum level. It's classified as a level 7 event, which is the maximum classification in the International Nuclear Event Scale. The only other getting 7 is the Fukushima Daiichi thing, which happened in 2007. And to battle the contamination that happened, it required a very large workforce, which was around about 500,000 people. Many were affected. And the cost of it was 18 billion rubles. Sorry, yeah. And there have been many long-term effects on civilians, such as deformities and cancer. Okay, I'm going to talk about the United Nations stand on using nuclear energy. So the United Nations have been skeptical on the use of nuclear energy because of the fear of nuclear proliferation, which is the use of nuclear energy as a weapon. America is an example of a country who does not reprocess their nuclear waste because of nuclear proliferation. A number of joint treaties have been established by the UN with certain countries in the aim of preventing nuclear proliferation and testing. These include the Treaty on Non-Proliferation of Nuclear Weapons, the Treaty banning nuclear weapon tests in the atmosphere, in outer space and underwater, also known as the Partial Test Ban Treaty, and the Comprehensive Nuclear Test Ban Treaty, which was signed in 1996 but has yet to enter into force. There are severe repercussions for countries who do not follow the rules set by UN. One of them is Iran, and they faced an economic sanction by the UN. And I'm going to show you a video of how they do it.
President Obama recently signed off on a new round of sanctions targeting Iran's energy and shipping sectors. They build on a range of unilateral and multilateral sanctions against Iranian industry and banks. The measures are aimed at curbing Iran's nuclear program. The West claims Iran is trying to build nuclear weapons. Tehran says the program is for civilian purposes. Iran has indicated it is ready to hold a fresh round of talks with international powers, the so-called P5+1, the United States, Britain, Russia, China and France, plus Germany. Jenny Ingram of IHS Global Insight says the sanctions are forcing Iran to the negotiating table.
This is hitting the Iranian part of the conflict. Also, with restrictions on imports, there's growing tension.
EU trade with Iran, even in permitted commodities, has fallen off dramatically in recent months. That's because European banks fear the RAR. The US, says Nigel Kushner, chief executive of W Legal, which advises firms on trading with Iran.
The American law have a quiet word with them, or suspects, and asks them not to do it, so they won't do it even though they are committed to do it. So I was speaking yesterday with a Swiss bank who have said, we want to accept payments for medical goods or humanitarian goods that are going to Iran, but we're too scared to do it.
Kushner says Iran is looking to countries beyond the jurisdiction of the sanctions to get what it needs.
It might take longer, it might be more cumbersome, it might cost them more, but they will often look to countries like China and Turkey who don't need to comply.
The banking sanctions are causing the most pain in Iran, says analyst Ali Fatollah-Nejad of the University of London.
You have huge financial banking sanctions, which is the eye of the storm, from which every other also civilian branches of the economy are then crippled.
Fatollah-Nejad argues the West must put the sanctions up for negotiation at any upcoming talks if a diplomatic solution is to be found.
To run the country in terms of its economic development, in terms of the well-being of its population, in terms of the well-being of its civil society, is something that Iran
How long is this video?
outside of 2 minutes to care a lot. And this is something that has to be put on the table.
If the talks go ahead, they would be the latest in a long series. Analysts expect a focus on short-term confidence building rather than a solution to the crisis. Henry Bridgewell for VOA News, London.
Yeah. So that is the repercussions, the punishment faced by Iran for failing to comply with the UN's regulations on nuclear power.